start this. Awesome. All right. Well, to get started, I'm going to share my inbox screen, which is always a great idea on a call with 30 plus people. All right. So if everyone can go to their Gmail and refresh their screen, if they don't have this purple icon up in the top right, that's going to be the Mixmax icon. Refresh your screen if you don't see it, but if you downloaded the extension already, you should see that there. And what I'll want you to do is go ahead and click on that icon, and it should open up Mixmax in a separate browser for you. And the first thing I'm going to do is kind of walk through some setup items for you all. And then we'll get into how to actually use Mixmax in Gmail. All right, so once you click that icon, it will probably take you to your live feed. Over on the left-hand side, if you hover over that little column, down at the near the bottom, you should see a button for settings. We're going to go ahead and click on settings. And then it should take you to a settings screen under the personal tab. From there, there's nothing that we need to touch on in general, account, or anything like that. So the first thing I want you guys to click on is integrations. And I really just want y'all to check a couple things. One, for Chrome extension, if you download it, it should say installed checkbox. As long as that's checked, you're good to go. Same thing under the Gmail box. You should see that says that you're connected. And then the last thing I want to confirm is Salesforce. We definitely have to make sure that Salesforce is connected. If it doesn't say it, you should have a button here that says connect to Salesforce. Click on that. It should have you just log into Salesforce once. And then it'll authenticate the account and make sure any emails that you send get sent to Salesforce. All right.
Ask a quick question.
Yep.
I'm seeing DocuSign and LinkedIn, but just let's start with DocuSign. Should we connect to that also?
Let's not connect to that just yet.
Okay.
And then for LinkedIn, do you have LinkedIn Sales Navigator, Wendy?
No, but that is my platform because I'd like to upgrade to that. That's another conversation, another day. Thank you. We can move on.
Okay, cool. And then Nieheiser, I think you put Gong. You asked about Gong. We don't have to connect to Gong. The reason it allows you to do so is Mixmax comes with a dialer in case we wanted to do a bunch of cold calls or call from the platform, and that's just not a go-to-sales motion that we have right now is cold calling. So if we do move to that type of motion where we want to start doing calls from something other than our cell phone, then we could connect Gong. But essentially all that's going to do is it's saying, hey, any phone call that you make from the Mixmax platform, it'll send it to Gong as well. So we don't need to do that.
Sorry, one last question. Google Drive. Do we need to connect Google Drive to be able to create sequences to attach things to it?
You don't have to, but if you do want to connect Google Drive, what it'll allow you to do is rather than like add an attachment, like, you know how you click attachments, then you can go through your folder. It'll give you the option to search through your Google Drive as well.
So it's not going to mess anything up if I connect it.
Correct. Well, caveat, something always goes wrong with you, Wendy.
I know, I'm scared. I'm doing it.
So I promise nothing that I tell you.
Kayla, aren't you so proud of me right now?
Wendy, I have faith that you're not going to break Mixmax because I have tried over the last week.
Have you? Okay.
It seems pretty bulletproof.
We'll see.
Or should I say Wendy proof?
No, I'll find something that it's going to mess up my whole thing. It's something will happen, but it's all good. Michael White, it'll fix me. It'll be fine.
Awesome. Once that's done, everything says connected. Like I said, main things are going to be Chrome extension, Gmail, and Salesforce. Then under integrations, you'll see an option for signatures. When you guys click on signatures, does your default Gmail signature pop in there? Awesome. Cool. Nothing to touch on then. We'll come back to this to update the book a meeting button because now your like meeting link is going to change. But it's good to know that it automatically.
Hey, Whited.
Yes.
I also noticed I edited something on this signature tab and it reflected back in Gmail. So it definitely talks both ways.
Perfect. Good to know. All right. We don't need to touch on composing or unsubscribe. If you click on tracking, you'll want to make sure that this open checkbox is checked, as well as clicks. And then you can select, yeah, let's keep downloads unchecked for now. What the first two are saying is essentially it's going to tell you when someone opens an email and or clicks in your email in real time. And we'll cover that. This downloads option, if you're sending attachments and they download it, it'll let you know if they've downloaded something. The only negative piece to that is then we cookie the attachment when we send it, and it gets caught in a lot of firewalls with our clients. So we're going to keep that unchecked for now. And we can probably play around with if that's going to affect deliverability or not. Another thing we'll want to do is down in notifications. If you want to check this box that says real-time desktop notifications for opens, clicks, and downloads, if you check this box, it's going to give you a Chrome notification whenever someone opens, clicks, or downloads something. Could be helpful. But if you think that you're just going to get notifications every 3 minutes, then don't need to do it. All right.
So Whited, I know in SalesLoft, when we did this kind of tracking stuff, it would essentially say that somebody opened the email, even if it was me opening a sent email. Do you know if this is similar, or is this going to be more accurate to say, like, if we send it to 4 people, will it show us if only 2 of them opened it, and then if so, who those 2 people were, or is it going to be more of like a, hey, somebody opened your email, somebody clicked on it, type of thing?
Yeah, I'll get into that in the live feed. It will show you the people. The only time it does not show who the person is when forwarding happens. So it will only track and tell you the person if they're in the email 2 line or CC line. All right. Delegation. This may be important to some, others not so much. What delegation is it essentially allows you to let someone else send emails on your behalf. I don't know why any of the RAEs would use it. The only time I think this could be applicable is with the national team. And let's just say, Amber, you wanted to run something with your accounts and you wanted to say like, hey, let my team send an email from my inbox so that, I don't know why, but this is what it allows you to do that. So you would just type in here the person's name, they pop up, and you select, hey, allow that person to send emails on my behalf.
So like a good example of that, like for instance, like with one of my, like, let's just say Ashley and I are sharing an account, but maybe I'm on vacation. Instead of slowing that down, I could put her in as a delegator and she could answer on my behalf while I'm out, or if I'm traveling on a plane or something.
Yep.
Okay.
You got it. Cool. Sweet. And then under delegation, we're going to cover calendar. And we'll leave all of the options at the top as they are for default location. We'll leave that off because you don't have a Zoom room. Same with default room, we'll leave that off. For public calendar, this is going to be your calendar link. I currently have product updating this calendar link, so it won't say cow.mixmax.com. It's going to say cow.fetchpackage.com, so it'll look more professional. But what we'll want to do is hit copy here so that it copies the calendar link to your clipboard. And then you're going to want to go back to the signatures tab. If you hover over book a meeting, you can click on that. You'll see the link that currently exists. If you click on edit, paste in what you just copied, then it's good to go. Of course, this is going to happen right now. Let's see if that.
Yeah, why did you updated the image, not the link? You have to click the link button first when you select the image, and then paste the new calendar URL.
Great. I'll deal with that later then. But to Schmidt's point, you'll click the link button when you hover over it.
If I can figure it out, everybody can do it. And I did it successfully.
There we go.
And you do have to click that link first.
Cool. So I'll give everyone a second to get that done.
So it says book me now, and it's got like a little book beside it. Is that what yours looks like?
Well, mine's not cooperating at the moment. Do you want to share your screen? I'm going to stop sharing.
Mine allowed me to paste the URL, but it took the
image out.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Guys, what I did is I changed my settings in Google, in Gmail, and I pasted the link, and it didn't mess up the image.
Yeah. So that's what we'll do. If you want Wendy, oh, okay, I'll share my screen.
Oh, I just shared it. Sorry, I thought you had already done.
Nope, we're good. I'll explain what Kayla's saying, and it backs up what Dan mentioned, which is if you instead go to your Gmail, you open up your settings, rather than editing it directly in Mixmax, if you click on the book meeting button, you can then update that here, and then it won't change anything.
Be sure to hit the import signature button as well, back on there, right on the settings, and save it.
That worked. I'm square.
I just had a quick question. Yep, exactly what Ashley put in the notes.
Yeah. So what we'll do here is, if you already did it and it looks like mine or Wendy's, what we'll do, Mixmax and Gmail sync every 30 minutes. What I suggest that you do is after this call, it'll be 30 minutes. It's just go back, redo your signature in Gmail, and then copy that meeting link, and then do what I showed the second run through. What's up, Schmidt?
I was just going to say the import signature buttons in the Gmail settings.
Okay. Okay, so on calendar, we'll talk about meeting templates in a little bit here. I think default meeting template, it's going to default you to 30-minute meeting. I think that's what you're going to want to keep. And then I don't believe, yeah, nothing else we want to change here.
Is there a way to so they can't book on can we get like 15-minute buffers?
Yep. That's what I'll jump into next, actually. So over on the right-hand side, or left-hand side, sorry. If you hover over that column, you'll see an option for meeting templates. You click on meeting templates. It will show you any templates that you've created. It will default to this 30-minute meeting. That will be there for you. I've created this 1-hour meeting template to show you, or just to test this on myself. But here you can change the title of what the meeting is going to be. So you can say like fetch package discussion. You also have the ability here to insert tags. So you can put your name in here. You can put the guest's name in here. The only fallback to that, and why I wouldn't suggest that you do it, is because every time you use a merge tag, i.e. you reference someone else's field, you need to put in a fallback. So when you enter in something, it's going to say Mixmax is going to use the guest's first name. If that is blank, then we're going to fall back to some other text. And it won't let you save without putting a fallback option there. And there's really no replacement for, like, if you were going to do fetch package discussion with, let's say we were meeting from Bobby at Graystar. If you put with and then the guest's name, there's not a great fallback option there. So I would keep the titles of the meetings pretty vague or open-ended, if you will. Where you'll leave blank, room you'll leave blank as well. It will default to your email for the schedule on. That's just going to say if they book a meeting, what calendar should I schedule that on? In the description, I would also suggest that you put a note in there. Just, thanks for taking the time to chat with us over, whatever you want the verbiage to be. And then as we scroll down, the only thing you might want to change is the title of the page. And so if someone clicks on the link to book a meeting with you, the default is going to say schedule a meeting with, and then it's going to say your full name. That's probably totally fine. If you want to change that, this is where you can do so. Duration, being that this is the 30-minute meeting template, the time is 30 minutes here. If you want to create a new template, you can do so. So like I'll go to my 1-hour meeting template down here. I updated it from 30 to 60-minute meeting in case you want to have different options to give clients and prospects. The date range option, what that is saying is if I give someone my meeting link, how long out can they book me for? So the default is going to essentially be 3 weeks. So it's saying, hey, 1 to 21 weekdays from now is how far out they can book me in the future. Underneath that is going to be the hours that you allow people to book. So it's going to default to business hours, 9 to 5. Obviously, like if you're going to make a 30-minute meeting, You can up that to 4:30. If you don't mind staying later, you can push it back, whatever the case is. But this is just going to be what the recipient is allowed to book you for. All right. And then to Wendy's point earlier, under this options section, you can put in a buffer between events. And so essentially what this says is you won't allow someone to double book you back to back. So if you wanted to make sure that you have at least 15 minutes to debrief, or if the meeting goes long, you can update that to say, you know, hey, only allow people to book me after I've already had a 15-minute buffer after my most recent meeting. And then last thing I want to mention here is under the automation section, you can automatically schedule a reminder email to be sent to the person who books it. So it might be crossed out for on your screen. What you'll want to do is just toggle that on. And then here you can alter that email if you would like. And then you can also change when you want it to send. So it defaults to 1 day before the meeting. You can change that to an hour before the meeting, et cetera, et cetera. I would highly suggest doing this. This way.
With the Gong meeting reminder, would this effectively be duplicating efforts? I mean, I think a double reminder isn't a terrible idea, but would we turn off Gong if we did this instead? Or vice versa?
So good point. So what Dan brings up is Gong has, I think right now it defaults to, it might be an hour reminder before a meeting. And we'll have the Gong training call next Monday. I'll go ahead and get that scheduled here shortly. We can have one on, one off, or you can just stack them in a way it makes sense. A way I think about that is like if in Mixmax we wanted to do the day before, this way if they know, hey, it's not going to work, then you can get that heads up much earlier than just defaulting to the Gong 1 hour. But I think the day before reminder, as well as the Gong 1 hour before, is not too aggressive of a cadence for that.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, half hour. So it's pretty close to the time. I think the day before in Mixmax makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially if somebody's booking something 2 weeks in advance. So.
All right. Any questions there on meeting templates?
Do we know, this might be getting too into the weeds, but like a day before reminder, do we know like what time that's going to go out? Like if the meeting's at, 8 or 9:30 in the morning, are they going to send it, the day before the afternoon? Do we know what that looks like? I guess we can say like 24 hours. I'm just worried if it's like a 3 p.m. meeting, we don't want like a 3 a.m. Meeting or something like that going out.
Yeah, it's going to default to the days here translate to hours. So like 1 day is going to be 24 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. If there's no other questions, then I'm going to hop straight into Gmail and kind of show you even why we picked Mixmax as our best option here. All right. So reason why we loved Mixmax from the jump is because it's all integrated directly in Gmail. You don't have to live in the Mixmax web app or the website to actually use it. It's built natively for Gmail. And that's where you're going to spend most of your day. And you can get all of the features from it directly from your inbox. And with Mixmax, on the sidebar on the right of your Gmail, there's also an extension that lives there. So if you click on that little Mixmax icon, it's going to pop open the sidebar, with a couple different options. We'll cover that later on. But it's going to let you know when someone's opened an email, when they've replied, if you've sent something. If you have clicks tracked, it's going to show you if someone's clicked on something, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to move your attention to the actual compose part of Gmail. So I'm just going to put my testing email in here. So in Mixmax, a couple things you'll notice right under the subject line, there's a couple quick things, quick buttons you can press to insert certain things from Mixmax. So let's say we wanted to send someone a meeting invite. We have a couple different options here. One, we can share our availability. And I'm going to get out of full screen to do this. So if I do share, I think it's because I'm in full screen. There we go. So it'll pop open and say, what time slots do you want to offer this person to book? So let's say I wanted to give them these 2 times tomorrow. I'll go to next week, give them this option on Monday, Wednesday, and then later in the day, Wednesday. In here, you'll see it updated to say Mike and Michael meeting. It's pulling Mike because that's my personal Gmail. So like whoever you're inviting, if they exist in Salesforce, it's going to pull their name. So it would say Susan and Michael meeting. You can obviously update this to say whatever you want in the title. For conferencing, we'll do Google Meet. The first time you choose Google Meet, it should ask you to log into Google Authenticate. Once you do that, you'll never have to do it again. It'll all automatically know your Google Meet. And then in there, you can put in a description. If you want to invite additional guests, you can enter in their email here. And then I would just click Insert Times. And then it's going to give the client a really nice visual here where it's going to be branded for Fetch and show them, hey, these are times that you can book a meeting. Once they click on one of them, it's just going to send them a confirmation. You'll get an invite, they'll get an invite, etc. So that's one way you can show meeting times. Another option is going to just be to send a calendar invite. And that's just going to be choosing one time. So if you only want to give them one option for whatever reason, maybe there's a deadline, then you can insert that. And then when you send it to them, it's going to say, it will send it to them and then they can click yes, no, or maybe. That's essentially them being able to RSVP without having to reply to your email or like click the Google default yes, no, maybe. All right. And then next one is just going to be insert calendar link. That's pretty standard. That's just going to drop in your calendar link. The last one, I think it's going to definitely be the one that's used the least. But it's if you're trying to book a meeting with a large group of people and you cannot see their calendars. And so what it does is it creates a poll where people can vote when the best time for them to meet is. So let's say I wanted to meet with people on the week of the 25th. I can say, hey, I'm going to offer 11 a.m. on the 27th. I want to offer 3:30. And then on the 28th, we'll offer, let's call it 9:30. Give it a title, insert that, and then people are going to then get an email, and then it's going to allow them to select what time works best for them, and then they can hit send vote. If they can't make any of the times, then they're simply can hit I can't make it. And you're the second that they respond, you're going to get that email letting them know what the person selected. questions on inserting availability? The calendar. No? All right. Next, we have templates. In here in Mixmax right now, we have very few templates in here. This is really going to be something that John Sissel, Kendall Simpson, Anna as well on the onboarding side are going to work on the next, call it the next 2 weeks, to get some pre-approved templates and language in there that we would like everyone to use. But also I put the onus on y'all to say, hey, I want to really think about crafting a good message. If it's something you're seeing success with, create that as a template so that you don't have to rewrite that every single time. And then make sure we're sharing with everyone as well. So whether it's Wendy, Amber, Danielle with her pods, or just any of the RAEs, like let's just share that with the entire group in the revenue GChat space to say, hey, I'm getting really good click-through rates or response rates with this template. And then this way people know it's there. And I'll show you guys how to create templates later on. But let's just say I wanted to choose an onboarding template. I'll select one. And then here's one where this covers some of the questions that y'all used to ask on onboarding, link to the client portal, etc. We can drop in video links as well so that they don't have to like follow a link out somewhere. It'll show them a preview directly in their inbox. So you have templates there, sequences as well.
And really quickly too, if you create your own template, if you type an email that you really like and you want to resend it to other people, you can click on templates, and it, like if you said, hi, my name is Mike, like you can click on templates and then save that as a template, and it'll take you right to Mixmax to edit the sender info, any links that are in there, and make it then in your personal folder. So it's really quick and easy to make that repeatable. You can give it a name, put what folder you want it in, any of that too. So it's pretty handy.
Yep. Thanks for that call out, Dan.
I have one more call out too. I'm sorry. Can I?
No.
Go ahead. Guys, I love Mixmax. It's the coolest fucking tool we've ever implemented at Fetch. So
HR.
Sorry. It's the really, really neat addition. If you, for inserting meeting links, rather than clicking on the meeting link, if you do a / and type in meeting. So if you do this, really quick in real time.
Dan, you're stealing my thunder of the /. So I'm refusing to touch my keyboard right now.
Okay, just know it's really cool and pay attention.
Cool. Okay. What Dan is alluding to is Mixmax has some awesome shortcuts that you can use in your inbox, available via /. So rather than having to click around, if I just drop in / here, you'll see a whole prompt come up of different things that you can insert. If I wanted to do availability, I can just type in A, you'll see availability come up. Other things you can enter in here, we can launch a poll. So let's just say we wanted to send clients a poll of, do you feel prepared for dealing with packages this holiday season? But got it. Okay. Don't send this, but you can put that in there as well. Insert that poll, and then you can send that to clients, and then they can select what they want, and then you're instantly going to get an email saying this person selected this option. So I think it's a really, Mixmax has some really, really, really great interactive ways for you to interact with clients, which will stand out from just text-based things that they're getting all day, every day. Another thing that you can do, and I don't think Brooks is on this call, which makes me very sad because he's our meme king. Brooks sends memes with a lot of his emails. But in here, you can also launch any GIFs that you want to put in an email. So if you're waiting on a response, this is still one of my favorite GIFs to put in here, like me waiting for you to get back to me. Insert narcos. So that's one thing that you can use. I would definitely play around with all of the things you can insert in here. Now, every cool thing that you can put in Mixmax is not available just with the command key. About 70% of them are. But let's say you're sending a proposal to a client, or you want to send them our rate card, whatever the case is. In the bottom right, you'll see the Mixmax icon. You can click on that, and then it will show you some other things you can do to enhance like the email. So, before you saw me enter a poll. So the poll's here, availability. One of the things that I like is PDF preview. So if I clicked on that, let's say you just created a proposal for someone, you could put that in there. I think down here, like I have our pricing sheet. And so if I wanted to share this with a client, then rather than them have to view an attachment or download it to open it up, they're going to be able to see it in line with the email. And we've tested this multiple times. It comes through nice and clean formatting. It doesn't send anything in a wonky way. But you can type out your email above and then say, hey, below you can see the quote that I put together for insert community name. So I highly suggest that y'all play around with Mixmax. Look at some of the / prompts in here. Same thing if marketing shares a blog and we want to send that out to a client and say like, hey, our team just put out a great blog that I think would be, pertinent to whatever the case is. You can put call to actions in here. You can put a button in here. So like it can say like, read our latest blog, and then you can put the URL to that blog in there and they just have to click the button. Thanks for that call out, Kayla. So semicolon is going to be your shortcut for templates and sequences. So / for enhancements. Enhancements are any of those things like polls, GIFs, availability. Semicolon is going to be for templates and sequences. All right. Next thing I want to show here is at the bottom left, you have your standard send button. But to the right, you have a send later button. So here you can pick and choose times to send someone something. I never open my personal email, so let me see if I can use a Greystar contact real quick. Now, what this does is it reads their activity and when the person is most active in their inbox, and it works for Outlook, Microsoft Access, Gmail. I'm not sure if it works for any of the other ones, but let's say I wanted to send this email and I wanted to see when my prospect is most active in their inbox. I can hover over these times of these bars, and it's going to suggest this is the best time to send that email. And what's nice is it doesn't just do the default, like, hey, I'm going to pick 11 o'clock or 4 o'clock. If you look at my screen, I don't know how well you can see it, but you said it says, hey, we're going to send this at 4:23. This way, it doesn't look like an automated sequence. It looks like you are sending this as a one-off email.
That might be the coolest thing I've ever seen. I'm actually composing an email right now, and I just pulled it up it's a managing director. This is cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's also like if I pulled up mine, it'd probably be scary to see how active I am at like 9 p.m. and 10 p.m.
I have noticed it's like on a bigger group, it is pulling like a lot of the servers. So like a Graystar, for example, is bulk pulling. And White, and I don't know if it's a setting, but like I've noticed once I hit about 11 a.m. to noon, it's automatically saying send this email tomorrow. So I don't know if there is a setting that got switched, because when I first did it, it was same day, send later today, and now it seems to always be going to the next day. So just be cognizant of that. But you can also pick and choose a time that you want to. But it's the coolest feature in the entire thing.
I have a question. So I've got two people on here. I'm sending it to Lisa and Amber to introduce her to her. Is it pulling Amber's internal also? Or should I remove her and then check the times?
It's actually a good question that I don't know the answer to. My inkling would be it would default to the first person in the to line, especially if you have like Amber CC'd. But if you have multiple people in the to line, I can ask their tech team and get an answer on that.
Okay, I'm testing it now. It changed. It was pulling Amber's in also.
Okay.
That's fascinating.
Sweet. And then right next to the send later button, you'll see this lightning bolt, and that's going to say, what would you like to track? It's always going to default to those settings that we set up earlier in the call. But like, let's just say for a particular email, like you didn't want to track clicks or opens, you can turn that off. And then you'll see that it grays out that lightning bolt. And then let's just say before, how like Wendy, I saw you shaking your head when it was like, I don't want a desktop notification for every single click or open. You do have the option, if you're emailing someone really, really important, say, hey, send me a desktop notification and send me an email notification when this person opens that email. So like if you're sending a contract, it's a really good use.
Yep, I love that. Anybody who's got ADD should not have every single notification popping up. We would lose our minds.
Noted. This last one, so the little like circular sync, that's just going to say, hey, this is syncing to Mixmax and to Salesforce. So if you're sending an email to someone, you shouldn't send personal emails from your fetch package email, obviously, but like it happens. So if you're sending something that you don't want tracked, let's say you're sending something to our HR business partner or something to your manager that you don't want in there. Well, actually, I take that back. Anything you send to a fetch package domain won't be tracked automatically. So just anyone that might be a personal email, if you uncheck these, it will make sure that it doesn't sync those. All right. Last thing on this screen I want to touch on is this collaborators function. And then Kayla on my team has dived into this much more than I have. So if I say something wrong, Kayla, feel free to jump in here. But what this allows you to do is give someone access to read an email without you having to copy them at all. And so if I wanted to say, hey, I wanted to share this with Kayla, she's going to get access to this email and get a notification so that she can see it. An example of that would be on the sidebar. If I go to my side chat, Kayla shared me on an email thread that I'm not on. it would show unread over here, but since I've already read it, I can see it. If I just click where she's mentioned me, boom, it pops up the comment that she made to me on that email thread, and then opens up that email thread on this in my inbox. So if you're working an account with someone, national team, whatever it is, and you're like, hey, I want to loop in Amber, Wendy, Danielle, or vice versa, Wendy, you want to loop in someone on your team, rather than have to forward them the email, you can just click this share button. Or sorry, Kayla, can you?
Yeah, so what you'll do is on that email when you're looking at it and you do want to add any other collaborator that's not already on the email, you'll just open up that sidebar, and on that same exact tab that you're on, whited, you'll open that. Yeah, just go ahead and try a different email.
Yeah, let me, I'm gonna pick a spam email here.
And now all you have to do is yeah.
And then I would say, let's say I wanted to add Kayla here. And then I can type in like, look at this, whatever the case is. I send that. Now she's going to get a message that says like, I've mentioned her, and it'll pop up in her side chat.
Yep. And not much use for Gmail or GChat as much with this feature. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah. And forwarding people emails to have to sift through the whole thread. All right. Will they get replies? That's a good question, and I don't think we've tested that. Are you shaking your head, Kayla, because you know that they won't, or
No,
because
I haven't tested it either.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm going to note that down there. Good question, though, Dana. And I also want to mention, too, that in a couple of weeks, we will have a follow-up call with our Mixmax CSM. But what I didn't want to have happen is have that person come on here, show you the tool without any context of how we use it in our business. Like, they don't know what units are. They don't know property management group, ownership group, all that.
Why
did Crystal also had a question.
Yep.
Where can they see send later emails? Will that show up in scheduled in Gmail, or do they have to go to Mixmax to look at that?
Yeah, I hate that. Unfortunately, it does not show up in your scheduled Gmail. So what you need to do is you'll go to, let's say you're in Gmail, you'll pop open Mixmax. And then in here, you have an outbox. And then under here, you'll see calendar events, reminders, and then send laters. And so if you have anything to send that's scheduled to send, you'll see it in this send later box. And I've already sent them a request to move it to Gmail. So that's taken care of. All right. Thanks for that reminder, Schmidt. Did anyone else have any open? Okay. Nope. Sweet. All right. Now, next thing I want to cover. So Dan brought up a really good way of how to create a template directly from your inbox. If you type it out and you're like, hey, actually, I just spent a lot of time composing this. I want to save this as a template. You can do that easily there in the inbox. But let's just say, you block off an hour time and it's like, I want to put together some really great use case templates. In order to do so, you come over to Mixmax, hover over that left column, and you'll click on templates. From here, you'll see templates, and then you'll see folders as well. I can't stress enough how important it is to create folders with great subject lines for what the templates relate to. Nothing's worse than having 65 templates and none of them are organized. So you can see over here, I started to create some folders for myself. So like internal team templates. So information going to ops about a new community. Onboarding templates, so things we would send clients for onboarding. And so to do so, we would just click new folder, and then you can create the name of that, that folder. Now, by default, anyone outside of the sales managers, your folders are going to be shared just with yourself, not with anyone else. And so if you wanted to share a folder with someone, you can click on the folder, and up in the top right, you'll see the share this folder button. You click that, and then you can invite individual users. So if you want to invite one person, or we also have groups. And so you can do the entire workspace. And then we're going to create another three groups actually. So Kayla, let's make a note to remember to do this. We'll want to create a national team, regional team, and then O&T team.
I got them added on my end, but I'm not too sure why it's not reflecting on your side. So I'm going to take a look at that.
Okay. Yeah. And I thought I saw them, which is why I'm surprised here. All right. And then that's how you can create and share folders. To create a new template, it's simple. Create the new template button. From here, you'll just name the template. You'll have your subject line and what folder you want to save it in. From there, you simply just start typing out your fields or typing out your email. From here, you can put in those enhancements as well. So all of those poll options, Q&As, videos, previews, you can put those directly in your templates. Also, you can insert variables as well, such as the first name of the recipient, your name, and then we also have Salesforce fields in here as well, which is why it was important for us to make those fields that I mentioned on the call yesterday. And so all of these are available in here, but I would say hold off on using the Salesforce fields for the time being. Myself, John Sissel, Kendall, and Schmidt, we need to get together and make some pre-approved emails that we think will be really useful for y'all, such as like monthly check-ins, quarterly business review emails, where we reference those fields. And then rather than you guys have to recreate the wheel every single time, we'll have a template made. You can come in and then you can just clone it, make a copy of it, and then run with your own. And all you'll need to do that is when you find a template, let's say I wanted to make a copy of onboarding questions, I would just click it and come over to the right. You'll see the three little ellipses, and then you'll just hit copy. You'll rename it, put it in a folder, and then it's yours. Any questions on templates? No? All right. Cool. Last thing I want to run through then are sequences. So sequences are going to be multiple steps of automated or manual email sends that you can enroll clients and or prospects in. So for example, a good one that the directors will make and then you can copy is we need one for, let's say someone just launched their property. We might want to send them a hey, checking in, how did launch day go email, and then say 7 days afterwards, hey, checking in, maybe 3 weeks, whatever the case is. But you just enroll them in it once. You don't have to continuously check in with them. You don't have to make a task. They're just automatically added to that. And so I'll show you an example of a sequence because I don't want people creating too many sequences right now. But this would be an example of one for an inbound request that we get. So say someone comes in via some marketing lead source, Google Ads, request a quote. This one will automatically send this email on the first day. So immediately this will be sent. On day 3, if they don't reply, they'll get another one. Day 4, day 6, day 8, etc. And it's important to know that on the right-hand side here, it will let you have the option of, hey, only send this if they have not replied previously. So there are going to be different sequences where we want people to be taken out of the sequence if they interact with us, others that they don't. That first example that I brought up of like, hey, you just launched your property and we want to put them in that like welcome onboarding cadence. If they reply to that first email, we don't want them to get taken out of that because we want them to keep getting those emails periodically throughout those first 90 days. So if that's the case, we would do, regardless if the previous email has been read, replied, we still want to send the next email. Does replying also include book a meeting through our calendar link? Oh, I got you. I will have to double check there, John, but most every tool I've used previously, that does count as it takes them out. If it doesn't do that automatically, we can set up a rule on the back end to say, hey, if a client books a meeting, automatically take them out of any sequence that they're in. And then as always, or like a good best practice here, whenever you're creating templates, especially if you're using merge fields and any of those polls, at the bottom, you'll always have this send test email option. That's just going to send you an exact test to your personal inbox, so your fetch inbox, to make sure, hey, does this format correctly? Or the fields being referenced correctly? All right. If there are no questions there, or I think I saw, or was that John's question? Yep. Okay. Last thing I'm going to do then is I am going to hop over into Salesforce. And as y'all saw yesterday, Mixmax does integrate and have a bunch of features directly in Salesforce. So you don't have to bounce into your Gmail if you're in a Salesforce workflow. So let's say I just wanted to email Cara. It's going to pop open here. Boom. It's going to open up an email composed in a separate sub window. And here I can insert anything that I want. Let's say I wanted to send a sequence. Then it's just going to pull up the different sequence options that I have. I can select it, and then it'll automatically push that person in that sequence. Now, another really cool option. Let's say we have, I don't have any active community managers because my job's easy. But let's say you had a list of my active community managers and it was, call it 48 of them. And you had a really great template that was like every month you check in, it references their on time rate for the last 4 weeks, packages delivered. Just, want to make sure everything is good. You can select all of them in the list, hit add to Mixmax sequence. And then if you have that sequence that you have where it's just like checking in, boom, you can enroll all 48 of them in there at once, if you'd like. And I believe I'm going to double check something real quick. Is there a way to get that feature to click their name? Austin, could you explain that a little
Yeah,
more
sorry.
depth?
So you, like where I had the purple next to their name, you could just click it and it pulled up like an email to them.
Yep.
Is there a way, because there's a name section in the like the task fields, is there a way to link that to there too, or is just it only works when you're in the contacts drop down?
Oh, you mean like in the task drop down?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think. See if I have any recent viewed ones. Yeah, I don't think that we can do that because I've checked it for communities as well to see if like property manager, it would show up next to them.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll only work on the leads and contacts list views. And then what I wanted to check here was, I don't think it'll work there. Nope. Okay. Sweet. There's some other ways we can also build. Can contacts be enrolled more than one sequence at a time? So yes, Kendall, we can enroll contacts in multiple sequences, but we have the option to control that. So I say that to say they do have the ability to be in multiple sequences, but we can set limits on the back end to say only let them be in one or more, two or more, three or more, etc. And I do want to iterate here, sequences, very powerful. They can make you be very efficient in getting tedious or repeatable like outbound messaging out, but we don't want to fall into the crap or the trap of sending sequences and getting lazy about personalized emails. You know, I think if you haven't gone over it already in the Google Classroom training, we do have that goal of sending 75 personal one-off emails every single week. Sequences will not count towards that. So when we count email activity, it's only going to be like one-off custom emails that you're sending to prospects and clients. Sequences just give you the ability to cover more ground in much less time. This way, if you have tedious things to do like monthly check-ins, quarterly check-ins, etc., following up with someone once they've been launched, it's a way to do that in one click. All right. Now for a sequence. So let's say you have a sequence that you want to use, whether you created it from scratch or it's been pre-approved language that leadership has given the green light on. What you can do to add recipients to it is, well, you can click on it or you can click on add recipients. There are two main ways that you can do this. One is going to be with a CSV, so just an Excel upload. And then the other one is going to be or two flavors of Salesforce. You can do a list view in Salesforce. So remember how I was dropping down and there's like my active community managers, my active regional managers. You can pre-filter those lists and then import them here. And then it'll bring in all of that information and add all of them to the sequence that way. And same with reports. So if you wanted to create a report to say, hey, show me all contacts related to my account where the title contains regional. So like regional VPs, regional managers, you can make that as loose or as tight knit as you want. You can save that report, come over here, look for that report, enter it in, and it's going to bring in all of those contacts and assign them to that sequence. Let me just see. Let me do a test one really quick. I don't think any of these are going to pull up well for me. Okay, so here are some. So like I can review these one by one to see if, like if I click on this one here, this is my this is my cleanup list for contacts. So not a great example. But here would be one from this person's email. I can see, hey, it pulls in his first name, Brian Well. Sender signature, I don't think you need to worry about because Mixmax is going to know. The preview is more or less for, is it pulling in Salesforce fields correctly? So I just wanted to show you that if I go back, once you import people, it's not just, hey, let me import them and then activate them. You can also review all of them as well to make sure everything's coming through fine. All right. Any questions while we wrap up? Oh, thank you for bringing that up, Caleb. I do also want to show you guys creating someone in Salesforce via Mixmax. So, you know, my team spends a lot of time going through each one of the assigned accounts, going to ALN, downloading all of those relevant contacts, uploading them into Salesforce, but it's inevitable that you're going to be emailing someone that does not exist in Salesforce. When you do that, you are going to get a prompt that comes up. Don't tell me this is an actual person we have. This here. If I hit send, if that person does not exist, it is going to let you know, hey, go ahead and create this person. Once you type in the information, you'll hit create record and send. That's going to make sure everything gets tracked. And I want to reiterate on those KPIs that we have of sending 75 prospect emails every single week. If it's not in Salesforce, it did not happen. So if you are sending emails and you're defaulting to this button at the bottom, send without creating records, that is not going to count. However, there are going to be times where it makes sense to not track that person, i.e., a lot of y'all are going to get really close knit with the local associations. There's no reason for us to add those people into like the association board members or whatever. We don't need to create those in Salesforce. So use your discretion at times. If you hit send and it says, hey, that person doesn't exist, if you don't think that they should, then you can just hit send without creating records. Mr. Barry in the back.
Can you, in the Mixmax sidebar, I noticed you can edit a contact or a lead. Do you want to show people how to do that?
Yeah. Let me...
Like the example case that I had today was PM's, a property manager's email just came through as like pm.propertyname@Avenue 5. But their signature had their real name, so I was able to go in and edit that.
Yeah,
It's not a generic. And then it for future email sends, it'll populate their first name.
Yeah. So here's an example of what Dan was talking about where it brings up the person. And then if you click the little Salesforce button, you can see the account that they're next to, the contacts record. And if you need to edit any of that information, you can just click edit, and then you can enhance and enrich that data there. Now, no more cancellation dates. Bad email. All right. A lot of information. Once again, this is being recorded. We took yesterday's recording. Kayla on the team is going to upload that to our YouTube account. We do have a RevOps YouTube account or YouTube channel. And so when we send out the deck for Mixmax, we'll include the link to that video as well, so you can watch that. All righty. Everyone have a great day. Oh, Schmidt. Or,
Nope, that was an
button.
accident. I was trying to give you a clapping, but instead I raised my hand.
As Dan would say, amateur hour.
It is. Thanks, Whited.
Awesome training, Whited. Thank you.